G'day, doggies. Fans, it's NRL Media Watch episode 10. This is for the media and for some of our fans after one round. Back the fuck off, Burton, for fuck's sake. Look, you want to sit there? Is your ego that bad that you have to sit there and flap it everywhere you can that Burton is the problem? That the coach is a fucking idiot, that he needs to put Burton out into the centres. What coach would be worth their medal? You know, all these look, I'll tell you something about Fox Sports. With connections I've still got in that company, he is still the number one clicked on name at Canterbury since before he arrived. He generates more clicks, and the main story which he generates clicks on is what position should he be playing. All right? And it comes with the territory, I know. But he has family, he has friends, as do all the players, as does the coach. Show some fucking respect. If you wouldn't go and say it to his face, don't fucking say it on social media. That's all I'm going to say. And the thing is, none of yous would. Even the people who say that Gus Gould is a dickhead. If Gus Gould went and talked to them face to face and said some stuff, 99.999% of the people who said shit about him would absolutely fucking crumble. They wouldn't know what to do or say. Luckily, he's so thick-skinned he doesn't give a fuck. But let's get the white elephant in the room is that we're all complicit in this algorithm of Matt Burton. Anyone who promotes this comment generates thousands and thousands of views for advertisers. So they're going to keep feeding it. And as long as the fans keep playing into it. Look, do you really think, just say Matty Johns has done a story. So there's all these stories that are coming. If Serrato in next week against the Sharks puts Matt Burton into the centres, right? Brings Sexton into half and moves Drew out to 5'8", or brings BBO in, or puts Crichton at 5'8", whatever he does. What rugby league commentator would say that's a good move after one round? I'm pretty sure they'd be hammering the coach for spending the whole preseason doing one thing and then changing it after 1 week. Especially knowing that they didn't have any fucking football. 5 attacking sets. We scored 2 tries. Now, I know to say he wasn't involved, this is another thing. When they say players aren't involved in a play, Matt Burton's presence attracts attention. And he was there in support for all the plays. He was there calling for the ball. He's always calling for it. He doesn't always get it. He got a lot more than Flanagan last year, I'll admit that. Rightfully or wrongfully. Statistically, he's the 6th best 5'8" in the competition for attack. And being the focal point of our attack, you'd expect that to be the case as well. But let's not get under any illusions. If you're going to sit there and praise other 5'8" for their performances, well, he's number 6. Out of the 17 5'8" from last year, he was the 6th best attacking 5'8" across line break, assists, runs, tackle busts, all that sort of stuff. Defensively, he was one of the worst. But that's statistically going to happen when your team produced one of the worst defensive performances over a season that anyone's sort of seen in a long time. So, of course, he's going to contribute to that stat. On the weekend, he missed 1 tackle. A couple of ineffective ones, but got his body in behind and did a good job and shut down a lot of plays, as did Hutchison. So why the fuck are we sitting there after one round, beating our chests, saying demanding the coach moves Matt Burton to centre, saying that he can't coach, that he's an imposter, that he's a joke? Do you fucking understand what happens if we change coaches? What happens if we move Gus on? Our youth have not been this united, have not been this excited, and have not had the amount of depth in our youngsters that we've had in forever, to be honest. Sure, we won Harold Matts, over like 20 years ago. We won Jersey Flegg in 2003. That's how long it took. But those grades, I think we made a grand final in 2018 for SG Ball. That's been it. Finishing about 5th or 6th in reserve grade. They first started messing with the roster, our reserve grade kept stepping up. That's because it was full of reserve graders or players that were better than reserve grade but not quite up to it for first grade. And that is a thing that we have suffered for a very long time. The roster has been turned over in 2 years, not 3. It doesn't matter if you're sick of the excuses, if you're sick of being told to be patient. To even compare with the Dragons who have had the core of that side have been together for years. I get that. And Shane Flanagan can coach. We know he can coach. We know what his expectations are. He's stayed involved with the game. He's been an assistant at that club. He's not new. He was with a lot of those players when they come through as an assistant. So he's been part of the development. Do you think he hasn't developed his son over his whole career? It's a no-go zone, is it? He's not allowed to coach his son or talk to his son about how to improve. They played off the front foot in that second half. They defended well in the first half. Made a few errors. But Titans didn't throw that much at them, really. They didn't take many risks, the Titans. And when they did, they stuffed it up. I think there's context there. I thought the Dragons underperformed massively last year. Early in the season, they beat the Titans in round 1 last year, and they crunched them in their defence and the way they went about it. People forget that as well. Then they had to play the Broncos, and they led them 14-4 with about 10 or 14 minutes left to go in the match, and got beaten by 40, 44-14 or something. But they were on top the whole game. So, you think Moses Sully and Zach Lomax can't play? Tyrell Sloan? You're kidding yourself. Jack DeBellin played Origin. And I've always liked Blake Laurie. A couple of big boys in the Molo brothers coming through their system. They've got some big boys. They've got some good players. And on the edges were tough. And then they've brought in Luciano now. They should do well. They've got cohesion. The issue has been the captain sort of wants to win a comp, so he wanted to get out of there because he's sort of saying, I'm not going to win a comp. Rockhampton boy and another Rockhampton boy was kicked out of the team. They stick together, apparently. The Rocky boys. He wanted to go too. But it's all going to be about how great Shane Flanagan is, the man who ran an injection program. I'm sorry, he might be a good bloke, and they busted cheating the cap 2015 and 2017, but not in 2016, apparently. The lights maybe they should have left the lights on and something should have been done. Just wonder what Canterbury would have happened to them in that scenario. I think we need to back the fuck off Matt Burton. I don't give a fuck which ex-commentators and which people should say that he should go to the centres. Because you know what? I'm pretty sure if you go ask Terry Lamb who the best 5'8" in the club is, he'll tell you exactly who it is. And I'm pretty sure if you go and ask Paul Langmack and a whole bunch of them who the best 5'8" is in the club, I'm pretty sure they're going to tell you it's Matt Burton. So I'd rather listen to them. If those ex-players of the Bulldogs start saying Matty Burton's a better centre and they should move him, well, then my ears will open up. If the Hughes brothers and that started saying that, I'd listen to it. If Shifty Sherwin said it, and Asta doesn't say it, he does sometimes for clicks. But as I've said before, Braithen Asta is a player manager who manages halves. So talking down other teams' halves, which he likes to do, not to the teams where he knows they've got great halves, but talking down the up-and-comers or the ones on that second-tier fringe, he's made quite a habit of being very vocal about that. Very constructive about his own people, which is fair enough, but not damning. Very damning on Jamal Fogarty. Damning on Drew Hutchison after one trial. Did he not watch Drew for playing with the Roosters? Did he not see Drew score 2 or 3 tries, taking it to the line and winning the man of the match last year for the Roosters at half? Did he not watch that? I haven't seen Kyle Flanagan win a man of the match. Obviously, less opportunities to win matches when you're only winning. What was Kyle's winning percentage? Something like, I think he was there when we won maybe 15 games in 3 seasons. If that. And that's not putting him down. That's just the reality. So obviously less opportunities to win me in the match. Maybe it was subjective sometimes. My point is, how the fuck can you attack Matt Burton after round 1 when they had 5 attacking sets, scored 2 tries out of those attacking sets, where he ran decoys, ran in support, was there as a presence to be the kicker. Kicked well through when he kicked well throughout the entire match as well. That's not to be understated. You know, he kicked some balls from 30 metres out that went up high and landed on the 10-metre line. He's got a massive boot, and it's a huge advantage for us in that situation. I'd hate to think if with him at centre doing a hit up on the 5th tackle, or even the 4th in a good possession, and then you give it to someone else to kick, he just hands it straight back to the opposition on their 20 on the full, and they run it back to near the halfway. Because that's what was happening with Kyle Flanagan, unfortunately. Kyle had pretty good placement when he could kick a ball decent. And Drew can kick a ball decent, and Toby's probably got a really good boot on him, to be honest. But I just don't know how well they're going to connect that footy in that situation over 80 minutes. And also I don't know what Toby could have done differently in our team on the weekend to get us out of trouble. That's what I mean. This criticism to attack the coach and to attack Matt Burton, which is only feeding the algorithm to attack him more. I told you, I've said it in some of these posts, in plenty of posts, and I've said it in some of these podcasts. Matt Burton will be the one they focus on this year, even more so than they have. The pressure will be on him. And they fucking know that it's forwards first, back second. If the backs can't take advantage of what the forwards do, or if you've got forwards who are able to match it with the other forward team, then the halves make the difference. But there's no halves dominating without their forward pack. It just doesn't happen. It's not the way the game's played in first grade. And we look at the New South Wales Cup. Love the way they hung in there. It looked too easy to begin with in attack. And they showed resilience to get away with that win, scoring, I think, 7 tries to 6 or something. But Sexy missed some bad tackles in that game, which he was filthy on. And there was some bad reads down his side. Obviously, a new combination, Hippoy, Perham, Sexy and Skelton. They all had their moments. But, everyone's just blaming Perham, which is what they do, because he's same thing. Leave him the fuck alone too. He's got 1 year left on his contract and he'll be gone. I'm sure he doesn't see it that way and wants to fight for his position and stuff, but the writing's on the wall and the fan base have turned on him. Just like they turned on Ockenball, just like they turned on Brandon Wakeham, and all these players doing their best under very difficult circumstances at the Dogs. Just like they turned on Alamotti. And half of the people turning on Jake Averillo. Oh, he can't. He's a turnstile in defence. Okay. Funny though, isn't it? All the criticism we've got for letting Jake go, and Bennett doesn't pick him. So a coach can't coach. And Gus can't see potential, but Bennett can, but then Bennett doesn't pick him. I'm sure he's got a long-term plan for Jake, and Jake will be an asset to that side when he breaks through, and the hunger that he gets from fighting for his position might have him set the afterburners and and make a real impact when they do utilise him. But I just don't know. I don't think you can have it both ways. But back to this media, they're going to go at Burton all season, and if the fan base are going to go at Burton as well, like honestly. Because the thing is, we've had this every single year. And then when the coach does make changes, it rarely turns out very good. I know we had when Averillo went to fullback, when Dufty left. That was good. And we put Averillo to fullback at the end of last season, but we only won one game against the Dolphins. I think against Souths. We're in a few of those games, scored some points, but conceded heaps more. Didn't really help us. I think if he starts fullback last year and had the preseason, I think that spine would have been a bit more cohesive. But on the other side of things, the amount of points he scored from the centre, he was our second top try scorer last year. Scored a heap of tries from centre, played some really good games. That doesn't probably happen. And if you're watching rugby league closely, Gerald, the Dogfather's boy Gerald, he's still learning about the reads in defence as well. He's working his ass off and looks fired up, fit and hungry. But let's just back the fuck off Burton. Leave him alone. Let him go out there and fucking do his thing. Show some class. Like you enjoy the footy however you want. You have your opinions. That's great. The people who say he's a centre and keep it, that's fine. I've got mates who say believe he's a centre, and there's no sort of banter around that. It's just their opinion. But you've got the people who are absolutely scum-like in the way that they go about pushing that opinion and trying to create this rhetoric for all to listen to. And the fair weather fans just jump on board. See, the thing is with these fans is the ones that constantly, say they're not going to, they pay their membership and they deserve better. I've felt like that at certain points, but your membership is sharing the legacy of the club, past and present and future. And we currently we won the New South Wales Championship last year for having the best performed teams across all the junior rep sides. So we were the club champions, essentially. Winning Harold Matts, winning Jersey flag. We would have won New South Wales Cup if that shit didn't go down. SG Ball underperformed. We had a really good talent there who went AWOL. Ron Messi, they were using too many really young people in that grade. There'll be a lot more older people in that grade this year. Our women's teams were very dominant, lost in 2 very close matches in grand finals. We are becoming a juggernaut again, as far as clubs go. And all these kids and all these parents that are involved are absolutely excited about where the club's heading and how they're all going to be a part of it. That's at risk if we get enough of these bloody sooks beating their chest, pandering to the algorithm from the media, and pandering to those who want to come in and oust the current board, who financially have done a fantastic job. Not everything's perfect, but they've done a really good job. And with the right investments, the club can do a lot to build its connection with the community and with the area, and have the kids wanting to do nothing but barrack for the Bulldogs, to tell everyone their heroes are Matt Burton, which a lot of these kids say. It's Matt Burton, and Critter has a bunch of people, but the Fox is the number one. The Fox is the one the kids all love. He's their hero, right? And that's important. And we don't want that at risk, because what ends up happening is when we start, if the board gets ousted and we allow this rhetoric to go through, and the coaches then start making stupid decisions, paying too much for players, dropping players, doing all the stuff which basically goes along with what the fans want, to try and do what the fans want. And you know what ends up happening? Then we have kids demanding money before they've even played a first grade game, demanding top 30 money when they're not even in the 30 to stay. We have player managers who just utilise the weakness and vulnerability of our position to get these kids what they want. And it just puts the club into a difficult situation. But with Gus Gould there and the like, and the systems they're creating, if anyone goes to them with those demands or in that position, they just simply say, see you later. And that's how it's going to be. You're either a Bulldog or you're not. If you don't want to be a Bulldog, don't be one. Go somewhere else. Matt Burton wants to be a Bulldog. He never ever said he was looking at going somewhere else. I always said he wanted to stay. Fox, before he even saw, he was telling people on the street, I'm coming to the Dogs, mate, don't worry. He wanted to come and be a Bulldog. Still wants to be a Bulldog. I just think we shouldn't cater to these fucking vermin who all they want to do is cash in on the clicks. Because I can tell you now, if Serrato chops and changes that team early, starts putting in people, changes his half and fullback around after two or three rounds, he's going to get criticised for it. He's going to say he should have done it earlier. No one's going to praise him for it. And then if they come in and they don't do the job, he'll be blamed for it anyway. It's that thing that they talk about. Once you decide in your head that you don't like someone, that's the end of it. So I can understand. There's people who think Burton is shit. There's people who think Serrato is shit. And they're not going to shut up until the Bulldogs either win or those people are not part of the conversation. And what I'm saying is those people are damaging to our club. And to sit there and suggest that supporters who just keep cheering for the team are the ones that are the problem, calling them enablers and stuff like that, that's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's sport. People are losing their jobs, can't afford losing their houses. Yet you go to this length to attack and say disgusting things on social media about these players, about the coach, which their friends and family get to witness, which young kids are seeing. It's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. Be constructive. If you believe he's a centre, say that. Yep, I think he's a centre. And then people can have their back and forth. That's fine. But when you sit there and you just start slandering the coach and saying, swearing and carrying on about how they're crap and they're shit and they're this and they're that, you're just an absolute scumbag, is all I'm going to say. And hopefully you should go have a drink with Buzz Rockfield, because that's the type of person you are. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I'll stick behind my team. I'll support them. I don't always voice my concerns with the team. I will voice what I see as issues, especially as we go through. But round one, that's a bit early to start slandering the team, especially when, in my opinion, that's the most grittiest defensive performance I've seen from our team in a very, very long time. Forget the fucking scoreboard. It was 3 tries to 2 with 3 minutes to go. And we were on the attack. If they made a couple of different choices, if they took that run up the edge on the 4th instead of the 5th, it may have been 3 tries all. All right? It's not about mediocrity and saying being 3 tries all is good enough, or letting in 4 tries is good enough, or whatever. No one's saying it's good enough. But in the circumstances of the match, it is what it is. And they did a pretty fucking good job of repelling that Parramatta side, who tackled less than any other team in round one. And Canterbury tackled more than any other team in round one. And missed 29 tackles. We were missing 60 and 70 last year. I know it's towards the end of the season. There's a different kettle of fish, and it's round one and teams are clunky, and I get all that. But the Panthers missed 29 tackles too. And they didn't defend as much as we did. So there you go. They didn't even score a try. But we'll see. I think the Panthers will still finish top 2 or 3, because they're not worried about attack. They're worried about their defence. And really, it was a pretty lucky try that the Storm got. But anyway, I've had my say. That's going to be my say on Burton. Leave him the fuck alone. If he starts performing bad and bad and bad, well, the coach will deal with it. But from what I saw, he defended pretty well. He kicked really well. And he was there to be involved in those sets. The one criticism is when the game was on the line, maybe Matt needs to be the one who steps up. And I guess in the same with Hutchison. Maybe they need to lead a little bit more in that situation and say, follow me. But honestly, it looked like the whole team could hardly lift their legs. Taff was cramping up, and he's one of the fittest players out there. But yeah, I concede that point. They need to learn how to lead better in that situation and find a way to get us some points, to get us the win. That's the expectation at the end of the day. But in the circumstances of the game, I felt that there's many ticks you can give those boys in the defensive column. And in the attack column, I'm glad they didn't take a lot of risks. Because if they took more risks, they would have had more failings. Just the way the law of averages goes, which meant that they would have probably had less ball and conceded more points. So they have to take risks at some point. I get it. But the idea is to play the percentages, especially in round one, and work on your combinations and try and get things right. And then the Hail Mary stuff can come later when you build a bit of confidence. And that's just where it's at. Unfortunately, we're playing teams that have already got that cohesion that they can play a bit of Hail Mary stuff and get away with it and put on some points because they've already got some confidence. We've got to find it and we've got to develop it and we've got to, then sort of maintain it. And for that, I'm just not that positive. I'm hopeful, but I'm not that positive that that's going to be the way it turns out. I think every win will be an upset for us. And hopefully, if we can get a few wins, get some confidence, get some momentum, then we will see some much better results and make those people who are carrying on like absolute scumbags a little bit happier. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Go the Dogs and go Matty Burton and leave him the fuck alone.